I want to get my grandson. I'd like to see him get into motorcycle racing.
Oh, that's
too as young as 3 years old.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, yeah. Okay, listen, folks, I want to thank you guys for joining me for morning coffee. It's nice to be back, and I have a co-host with me today. That is not with me, but she's always here. You know, Jennifer Ferriss is my co-host today. We're talking about content, especially content for social media, etc. And actually, Jennifer's going to lead out in this, right? Jennifer, you're going to lead out, maybe? Okay, you can. Okay, but before we do that. We're going to just talk about some of the announcements coming up. Very exciting week this week, and I'm actually going to plug the live networking event happening next week as well. So, of course, today we have our discussion here, and then tomorrow we have the secret sauce, the magic of mindset and momentum. That's happening, of course, tomorrow afternoon, and I plug it every single time because I hear so many things about what goes on there that I think. Don't miss it. Okay. Then Wednesday, of course, real estate investing with Yuri Nesbitt. Very interesting. It's very interesting, the discussions that we're having with the real estate call. If you've not been on it, definitely check it out. And of course, Catherine, what do you have for Tech Talk?
I had to find my mouse, sorry. We're going to be talking about closed circuit TV and the pros and the cons, because a lot of people are really worried about Big Brother watching all the time.
Hacking you? Absolutely. Yepper. It's funny, we have that camera in the office, and I don't care if anybody hacks in the office. Who cares, right? Nothing's happening there. But, I know people who have those things in their home so they can see if somebody's coming in and everything else. I don't know. I don't think I want to have somebody hacking me. So that's going to be an interesting discussion. Of course, this week we also have the networking event in Barrie. That's on Tuesday. That's virtual. All right. And that's Tuesday evening, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, it says. And then next week we have on the 5th of April, we have live networking here in Hamilton at Shoeless Joe's. If you've never been to Shoeless Joe's, great place, great food. And of course, that evening, great company. As I was saying, Lisa, worth the drive from Windsor to Hamilton. It's right there in that little break. I was going to put in the applause. Okay. So today we're going to just chat about a few things to do with content. And, how many of us actually have our own website that we put content on that website? How many people that are putting content on their own website? Okay. And then how many folks don't, but you are always thinking about content that you can put onto social media channels to drive traffic to your business? Okay. All right. Now, how many people don't think about social media at all when it comes to your business? Okay. Good. Good. All right. So today we happen to have, I'm really glad that we have Jonathan here, because Jonathan does social media, right? So Jonathan, why don't you take a couple seconds and just chat with us a little bit about what you do and your approach to social media?
Yeah, I do everything. Essentially, most of our clients, probably 90% of them, don't care about social media, don't have time for social media, don't know how to do social media. Because we have clients from 25 to 70. So what we do is we take all the stress off their shoulders. They don't have to worry about content. They don't have to worry about posting. They don't have to worry about answering messages or comments or reviews. We have some that call us once a quarter and say, hey, we looked at our Facebook page for the first time in 3 months. We like it. Keep it going. Have a good day. And that's it. We love those clients. But content is something we preach all the time. I'm excited about this. I don't know if you're going to touch on this, Jennifer. But I'm just going to throw it out there, and if you do, you can be better at it. The head of Instagram actually just came out, if anybody heard about this, a couple days ago, and said, hashtags don't do what we think they do. So everybody thinks hashtags are so important for reaching new people. They don't. The head of Instagram actually said it all comes down to content. If your content is subpar, hashtags won't do anything for you. If your content is really good, the hashtags just help you sort the content in Instagram's database. So even the head of Instagram is saying content is king. So this is a great day to talk about it.
Awesome.
I just on that note, I wasn't on my list, but I've been A/B testing for some of my clients that I write content for, and we've been dropping hashtags and getting better results with the algorithm on Instagram. So no hashtags is getting us more likes and engagement than we were doing 3 to 5 relevant ones. We dropped those entirely, and we've gone with no hashtags because it's working better. So
yeah,
in that vein, yes.
Jennifer, what explain A/B testing?
So A/B, it's like split testing. So you're taking a concept and you're putting some data behind it. So you're trying one type of data and content for a specific amount of time, and then you're trying a second set. It's almost like 2 recipes where you're recipe testing and you're saying, okay, more sugar in this one, more salt in that one, and figuring out what's actually working, and then looking at what your results are over a set period of time. If you're going to do a proper A/B test in social media, I don't know what you would recommend, Jonathan, but I usually do 2 to 3 weeks for the first level A/B test. And then I will break it down even farther and go a little bit longer. I
do it depending on the client, right? Like some clients, if they're selling hot tubs, I usually do like a month because people are less impulsive with that. If I'm doing like shawarma, 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely depends on your goals and what you're trying to learn. But it's a really good way to learn about your audience, how your audience engages and interacts with you and your content, and also what actually is working well and what's not working at all.
It's funny because when I think about everybody, everyone here does some social media marketing, et cetera. And I can tell you in the past 2 weeks, there's some members that are posting for their own businesses that really stand out, because they've been hitting it really hard. Adam, you've been putting out some really good stuff. How's the response to that?
The response definitely varies. The way I look at it is that you want to be the first person that somebody thinks of when they need a particular thing that is, and the thing that we'd be talking about here is whatever our target audience would be, right? So I'm not totally concerned with how the response is to each message. I more want to make sure that I'm in front of my clients or my target market and getting the message out there so they know exactly what I do. Right.
Well, I'll tell you something. I remember your ads. I mean, I think you put them out every couple of days. There's an ad coming out, an infographic that's there with a call to action. I think that's pretty good. So let me just go through a list of 20 things, and then we can kind of, Jennifer, I'm going to throw these at you. And then I'm going to say, Jennifer, go ahead and explain them. Okay.
Let's do it.
So when it comes to posting, right? Everybody knows about infographics and whatever, but I'm just going to list out 20 things that you can use to mix up your social media. Okay. So of course, videos, checklists, those are kind of cool, right? If you have a webinar, then you're promoting your webinar information, quotes from people, podcasts, of course, live streams, articles, infographics, customer testimonials, ebook promotions, memes, if you can pull those together, polls or surveys, industry research for your industry, video, educational content, product promotion, and stories like Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook stories, LinkedIn stories, right? So those are the things that are out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, a good content strategy includes all of those. But the thing that I always come back to before you pick a type of content is, what is the purpose? Like what do you want to be known for with this content? What is it all coming back to? So do you want to position yourself as the social media expert who knows all of the things about social media? Or do you want to niche down to Instagram? You want to be the Instagram expert? Or are you the health guru that you want people like Adam to think of first when it comes to taking care of their health and their physical body? Do you want to be the go-to person for, sales or shipping? Or if that's the purpose, then everything else needs to come out of that. And that will influence what you're going to be talking about and what kind of content ideas you can utilize and how you would utilize them.
Absolutely. Anybody's thoughts on that? Jackie?
since she's here. Throw her under the bus.
Of course.
I am here. No, I don't. I got distracted. I do not have any insightful thoughts on that.
Okay, so
I'll jump in then.
No.
Awesome. Thank you.
In terms of the content that we're putting out there with Jennifer, it's really about the purpose, bringing value to people, and the value I want to bring to people is really what we're doing here as entrepreneurs. So, like for me, speaking from what I do, it's within transforming people's minds and bodies. I work on 5 specific pillars. So within my content strategy, I hit on all those things. Funny, you're talking about doing mindset and motivation. You guys doing that each week. One of the categories that I nail is mindset and motivation. I usually kind of group that together with habits and lifestyle, fitness and nutrition. And basically I try to hit those things each week, and I try to focus the most on mindset, motivation, and strategies with habits and whatnot, because those are the things that really make the shift for people. So, I think like what Jennifer's saying is key. It's what is the purpose? Figure out what your purpose is first, so you know exactly. Then you'll know exactly what you want to put out there. Right?
Yeah.
Can I just throw something in real quick too?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure you'll agree with this, Jennifer. One thing businesses have to be careful with their content is being too promotional. Mm-hmm. Don't make every post about you. It's about your audience.
Yeah.
So remember, the most important thing with social media is being social. So for some of our clients, the most popular posts where people actually message us asking for business are the posts where we don't even mention business. It's hey, look at behind the scenes, or hey, look at this happy customer enjoying the product. That's when people are like, oh, like I'm interested. But consumers are so smart now that when they just see ad after ad after ad, they're either going to unfollow you or they're just going to mentally check out about your brand.
Yeah. And that brings to, things you've probably heard before, which is the know, like, and trust factor, right? They need to know who you are. They have to like what you do. And then they build trust through engagement. And we take that, what you want to be known for as like a business owner, and you can break it down even further. Like, who are you as a human? Like, don't forget to put you into your content, because that's where people start to be like, oh, well, I would rather hire, Jonathan to do my social media over Jennifer because he likes, we'll go with NASCAR, and Jennifer doesn't, because we were talking about cars, right? Like, so that can be the tipping point between someone choosing you versus a competitor, or as I like to call them, adjacent businesses. So that, because that's the difference, like you resonate or relate or identify with someone around a core value, or, they like their coffee a certain way and you like your coffee a certain way. So that's a starting point for an engaged conversation. But at the end of the day, we need to look at, when we look at our content, is what does your audience need to know about you as a business owner, about the services you provide, and then how to work with you. So we start with those 3 pillars and break them down. And there's a million different ways you can break it down, but it should be content that's relevant, it's timely, it's trending, it gives them insight into who you are and how you serve, but also why they would buy from you in the first place.
Jennifer, it really sounds like you know what you're talking about here.
Listen, I just want to jump in here just real quick. That's a great segue for this next section. I played this for Catherine one time. I'm going to play it for you. It's about 3 minutes, so indulge me here, but it really kind of punctuates what we're talking about. So let me just get this ready. All right, here we go.
Oh, this is pretty cool stuff. Was the old Will It Blend YouTube videos. And, YouTube had just started. YouTube had been around, I don't know, months or something like that. And Blendtech, this very smart company, said, well, shoot, we can use this new media to market our blenders. So they created this Will It Blend series.
I'm going to place approximately 50 marbles in a jar. And I'm going to run the ice cream cycle, which is the slowest cycle we have. This is glass dust. Don't breathe this. I had no idea that this would turn into such a monster, a good monster. I've always wanted to have the fastest, the most powerful thing I could have. So for a wedding present in 1968, I got a blender. And I thought, man, I can make this thing better. So for years, we've had the opportunity to build a blender that would not fail. We're an engineering company, so we have 40 engineers. No other blender company has 40 engineers. I'm an engineer, which was a real problem because we didn't have any marketing and sales. I thought that if we had the best blender in the world, that people would beat a path to our door. I thought if people go into a scoop shop or a smoothie shop or a coffee shop, and then people would go in and they get these fabulous drinks, and they'd think, wow, I got to get one of these blenders. I just can't wait. Hey, would you tell me what that name is? And people would literally write it down. And I thought that's the way to sell. Someone buys something from you and then demonstrates it in a commercial setting. That's the best way to sell it. Not so. We finally decided that we needed to hire a real salesperson, marketing person. He saw a pile of sawdust one day, and he asked somebody, what is that on the floor? And they said, oh, that's just Tom, blending 2x2s. And he said, really? And yeah, sure. And so he buys a rotisserie chicken at Costco, and he buys a 6-pack of Coke and some marbles and rake handles and a bunch of other goodies. Came to me and said, here, blend this stuff. And so I said, okay. And so we filmed blending this. And he came to me 5 days later and he said, Tom, we've hit a home run. We have 6 million views on YouTube. And I said, Who-tube?
My name's Holly Jackman. My husband and I own 4 Roxbury smoothie stores.
So you get the general idea. So I'm going to actually go to Jonathan on this because, he kind of will distill this one down. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, so this is something we see a lot of, and we call it the field of dreams mentality. If you build it, they will come. So you can have the fanciest website, you can have the best product in the market. If no one knows about it, you're never going to get sales. So when we go, and we've gone to business before, we say, hey, listen, this is what we can do for you. And they say, we're pretty busy already. We have word of mouth. It's okay. We're good. And I always tell people, like, mouths get dry. Word of mouth is still very popular, but if you don't have a fancy website, your competitor is going to. If you don't do social media, your competitor is going to. So if your competitor, like Adam said, it's about being the first in mind when people think of your business. So if your competitor is hitting your clients 7 more times than you are, seeing your website 7 more times than you are, they're not going to be your customer for very long. Loyalty is kind of outdated. It's still there. There is brand advocacy and brand loyalty, but it's not like your dad who a handshake goes a million miles. So yes, the field of dream mentality is something that I'm sure Jennifer's seen as well.
You have to show people what's possible. You have to lay the groundwork and build the dream and show them what your service or your product can do for them and how it can change their life. And you can't do that. For most of us, like, we're not going to get 6 million hits on YouTube. So you have to do it. I mean, it's possible, but let's say it's less likely. So you have to do it bite by bite. So how do you take the concept of what you do and who you are and how you want to serve and how you want to show up, break it down? So what do you want to be known for? Write that list of the things that you want people to remember about you. Write the list of the things you want people to say, oh, Ivan, he's so quick to answer the phone and he's always got like a really good pep talk for me when I'm feeling stuck or a creative idea. Or Sheila is like the sweetest little powerhouse who says nothing and then bam, she hits you with like all of this smarts and wisdom. Or Jackie is like my go-to person, because when I'm stuck, she will kick my butt until I like get out of my funk, or she'll remind me of the mindset tools that I already know I have. So what do you want people to remember about you? That's where you start with your content. That's where you start with your content and how you serve, how you show up, and how you change their life. And when you can articulate that and share that, then people will start to gravitate towards you.
So, and I also want, and I love that, by the way. I think that's absolutely spot on. And think about this though. Here are these guys, and Jennifer and Jonathan, you both see people who are putting their own campaigns together, right? They run a a blender company. What would the typical ads be? They wouldn't be what you're seeing with Will It Blend, right? It would be something more, this, here are the features and benefits or whatever it is, the standard stuff, right? So for me, I think, okay, so how do you take your thinking to the next level? Right. Of course, they had a Jonathan there, right? They had a Jonathan or a Jennifer or a Teresa there to give them the idea. But think about this: when you're looking at your product or service, how can you represent that on video? Because that didn't cost him much. He just basically pointed the camera at it and said, "Let her rip." Right? Your thought?
Go for it, Jonathan.
One of the things that stands out to me right away, and I'm sure it's a lot for everybody here, is those videos have so much personality in them. Mm-hmm. They weren't stuffy. It wasn't a paid actor. It wasn't a suit and tie. It was comical. It was entertaining, and it had tons of personality. And let's say someone walked in to talk to Lisa about shipping. She's not going to sit there and read from a script and be robotic. She has great personality. So if you're going to do a live video, if you're going to do a story, if you're going to do an actual recorded video, just have fun, have some personality, stay classy, stay true to your brand. Mm-hmm. But the personality you would show in a face-to-face conversation, transform that into video, and you'll see a lot more success.
And that's where trending things come into play, right? So there's, you've got your TikTok trends or your reel trends. How can you take that and use that inspiration and use the trending audio that comes with it and make it yours? And I've seen, a lot of the online entrepreneurs and coaches, because that's kind of the space that I spend a lot of time in, they point and they put their own words on the screen, or they, the caption is really built out and gives a really solid tip and trick or, touch point to remind you of what it is you need to know from them. And so it's taking what's already working for other people and it's already trending in the world today and making it uniquely yours with your personality, your insights, and your information. And you can do that in 15 or 60 seconds, depending on what platform and how you want to do it. It's possible. Sometimes we just have to think a little bit outside of the box.
So that brings me to the brainstorm. Okay. So think about this. Let me pick on somebody. Okay, Dave. I'm going to pick on you, Dave. So when it's time for you to brainstorm, who do you call? You don't have to give me names. Do you have people that you actually call out to? And what does that conversation look like?
Honestly, no, not really. There might be a couple people within Manulife that I might reach out to, but for the most part, I'm on my own for that.
It's fascinating. Okay, Stephanie Hutchins-White.
I was going to say I get quiet. I go kind of into silence and sit quietly and kind of ask the question of what I should be doing next or where my focus should be, and just let kind of the answers drop into my head. And then I go, and before I can think too quickly and sabotage myself, quickly write them down and say, let's try it. Let's try that.
Okay, Michael was going to say something. I saw your microphone come off there, Michael.
Yeah, because of compliance, I'm limited to reposting things that are already out there. So I'll do reposts on those types of articles, things that I think have sort of a broad appeal to a lot of people and be applicable to a lot of people.
Okay. All right. Karen.
This is all so new to me, so I'm just getting started with a lot of this. So, yeah.
Well, let me make a suggestion for you, okay? So if you are ever, for me, I think I'm probably one of the most creative guys I know, right? Plus, I'm a Leo, so I'm egotistical. But the point is that I do reach out to, I'll call Catherine up. Catherine gets harassed by me all the time, right? Teresa is constantly like, please, Ivan, call Catherine, right? And when Catherine, I can, no, it's her. And she's like, please hang up and try your call again. Catherine, it's me. I call Jackie. So at the end of the day, I always have somebody to bounce things off of. But I recommend that you always have two people that you can reach out to at any time, right? Because inevitably, I don't know about you, Jonathan, but inevitably, when I'm doing something for someone and I'm brainstorming ideas, the first person I call, their ideas, I'm not really happy about. I just think they don't fully understand what I'm talking about, right? It takes the second person to, okay, maybe I don't understand. So go ahead, Jonathan.
I'm actually really lucky, and Jennifer, I love what you said earlier about how we're not competitors, we're just adjacent businesses. There's too many competitors in our field think we have some kind of secret key to, the fountain of youth, and we won't talk to each other. So me and you had like a 40-minute conversation, and we just talked about business because we're in the same industry. And I think if more businesses can do that, like talk to your adjacent businesses and say, hey, listen, I have a colleague in Mississauga I talk with sometimes, because I'm like, listen, like my organic reach just took like a dive this month. Like, how are you seeing it? She's like, oh, you know what? I'm seeing the same thing. I can breathe. We kind of brainstorm together. What's working in your market? What's working in my market? So if you can find someone in the same kind of field as you that understands your language. I love talking to other social media people because you get engagement rates, ROI, that kind of stuff. So having someone who understands your language really helps. But otherwise, people look at me and I'm like, your ideas suck because you don't even know what I'm talking about, right? So I know what you're saying, Ivan.
You know what, Jonathan, I'm glad that you mentioned our conversation. It was amazing because, very rarely do I get to actually chat with another person. Like we had that conversation. I mean, we were able to even talk about, okay, so what do you charge for this, right? I mean, imagine going to your competition and asking them, like, what are your price, and we had a very, very candid, very open, very amazing conversation. And it just basically lets you know, okay, this is cool, especially if you're thinking about discounting, right? Before you discount, talk to your competition. Just ask them what's going on, right? Because you might find that no, the market is good. The people are out there paying the full price. So what is it about your strategy, your approach, right? That's limiting what you're earning. Do you know what I mean? So brainstorm, but I'm talking more creatively, Lisa. Like when it comes to marketing yourself and promoting yourself and coming up with your own ideas, right? Who do you go to?
Well, I'm a little bit spoiled. I have 43 other franchises in Canada. So when I started, I thought I'm going to make myself some friends. And I did exactly that. I picked a couple other franchises and we, build that relationship that if I ever needed something, I'm going to pick up the phone, I'm going to call. I also think that it's important to have mentors not in the same industry. Because just like Jonathan was saying, like, I think it's really important that, they know the struggle. They know what we were going through when we started. They were there. However, when you have that mentor or that person you can go to not in your industry, it also offers different creativities to think, well, I don't know what you're doing, but maybe try this. And that works better sometimes as well. So I think it's important to have both.
Cool. Yeah. Anybody else on that?
I call them my business besties. So I have people who do similar to what I do, that I bounce ideas off of and we brainstorm and we hold each other accountable. But I also intentionally seek people who are really good at business, regardless of what kind of business it is, so that I have people to go to for business ideas and business concepts. Because like you said, Lisa, we need both. We need people who understand and speak our language, and then we need people who understand and speak the language of business, because having that different perspective, they stand in a different position and they're looking at your business from either a higher level or farther back, and they can see a different picture than we can. And that's really important, not just for content, but just for your business in general. It's really important to have those resources.
So think about these things that we listed off here, right? The videos, the checklist, the webinars, the quotes, podcasts, all those things, right? I know people that are amazing at video. They do great video, right? Great, snappy, cool with their cell phone. They have some techniques that really work well. They have some online tools that helps them to edit the video and, do some really great transitions and stuff like that, right? I need to talk to those people, you know what I mean? Like, or the people that, like, I know Catherine has published a book, right? Every couple of years you update the book too, right, Catherine? So So how do I do that? And how do I create an ebook? Well, when you're looking for, if there's something that you're not doing right now, like let's say that you're not, you don't have a landing page, you don't have an ebook that you're giving away, in exchange for information or whatever it is, right? How do you learn about that stuff? Because sometimes it's daunting, especially if you're not working with a marketing company. It's a little daunting, right? So how do you make it less daunting? One way is to reach out to those people and brainstorm with them. Don't be afraid to brainstorm, like niche your brainstorming. Someone who does really good polls and surveys online. Oh, hey, I noticed you've done some polls and surveys. Where do you come up with your ideas? What tools do you use for that? Like, is it a survey that you're going to do through Facebook, or is it better to have them go to your website and gather that information there? Like, all of these things you can go through with them and let them tell you why they've chosen to let Facebook do it. Do you know what I mean? Let them tell you why they've chosen to let LinkedIn do it. It might make more sense to you at that point. Why do it on your own site and full with plugins and stuff, right? Or whatever their reason is. You are going to get more information from them because they're really doing it. Anybody's thoughts on that?
I am a big believer in identifying my weaknesses and going and finding people who have that strength and then making them my new best friend.
Right.
Because I want to be able to have built a relationship so they already know that I'm invested in who they are. So that when I ask a question, it doesn't come off of, hey, who are you? I don't know you and you don't know me, but I want all your secrets, but I'm not willing to pay for it. So I build relationships with people that have strengths that I've identified as my weaknesses. I'm not good at tech. So I have a lot of tech friends who are good at coding or, the things that I'm not good at. So when you can identify those areas, it's easy to find people who have the opposite strength and then pursue a relationship with them, make them your friend, invite them to things, bring them to networking, make them, a part of your world so that when the moment comes where you're stuck, you can ask those questions and you can pull on that resource because you've already invested in the relationship.
Yeah. So that brings me to groups. Facebook groups, especially, I do a lot of work on. And it's funny when I talk to someone and they say, oh, no, I'm always, going to the groups that are out there. And I go, oh, great. What do you do? They say, oh, I just go through and I like things. Okay. That's woohoo. You like things. That's nice, right? But, or they don't even like things. They just go and post and leave. They go and they drop a picture in and then they bolt. Just like everybody else, right? So I'm just going to give, and I'm going to ask both Jennifer and Jonathan to comment on how to utilize groups. So I'll just make 3 little points here. One of them is, of course, if you join a group and they have to approve you, make sure that you thank them. Say, hey, listen, folks, I'm really glad to meet you guys, because people tend to check you out, right? They click on your link and they go and check you out. So that's the first thing. And then, yes, like things, but also start commenting. Spend some time commenting and commenting on threads and actually being a part of the community, right? That you're chatting with. So that's the other one. And the last one is, I'm part of this group here in Hamilton called Beasley Neighborhood, right? And they're constantly posting things in the Beasley neighborhood, right? I don't think I'm even in the Beasley neighborhood. Anyway, the point is that I comment on things, and then sometimes if someone's asking something, I'll reach out to them directly if they have I've responded to them in writing. And then they've responded back to me. I'll reach out to them directly and we'll have sometimes a conversation. It's really amazing how people are much more okay with a direct connect with you if you actually are engaging with them regularly, right? Any one of you?
Go ahead, Jonathan.
When it comes down to any kind of social media, including groups, my number one priority is always engagement. I make posts to try and draw engagement because that's the great goal, right? Is engagement. But yeah, Facebook groups, you have to engage, be part. It's a community, right? If I came into this video right now and I didn't say a single word, no one's going to like me. right? Like, that's not why I'm here. And the Facebook group's essentially the same thing. It's a community. So contribute to the community, like, comment on things. If you can refer someone, refer it. If you can, give your wisdom and something, give it, without being too salesy, but just, engage in the community. And otherwise, you're just wasting space.
Yeah, cool. Go ahead, Catherine.
No, go ahead, Jen, because I have a question after her advice. Sorry.
Okay, so my tips for Facebook groups are always read the rules, because most of them have rules. So make sure you're following the rules. So that's the fastest way to make people mad at you and ignore you or kick you out. So know the rules and respect them, embrace them. A lot of the groups I'm in are no self-promotion groups. So you have to be creative in how you can add value and show up as the expert. So I like to look at those as opportunities to serve. And so I want to help the person, my ideal client. I know what their pain points are. I know what their struggles are. So I'm going to offer a tip or suggestion in a way that makes me look like I know what I'm doing. But then also gives the opportunity to start a conversation. The other thing I do is I go look for opportunities and scroll. I will scroll through days, because I do Facebook groups twice a week. So I'll scroll back days to make sure I didn't miss something where I can add to the conversation. I can keep the conversation going, because the best thing for me, and especially in my niche and what I do, is for me to take the conversation from a Facebook group to direct messages.
Right.
That's my goal every time, is I want them to be so interested in what I do and who I am that they want to learn more about me. So I'm like, oh, well, let's keep this conversation going on over DM, because then I can send them videos. I love the video feature in Facebook Messenger. It's the fastest way, because they get to see your voice, they can hear you, they see your face, they understand your expressions, they can see your excitement and your engagement with them. And I convert better with video messages than anything else in the world, because they get to see me and my personality. And either they love it or they're like, yeah, this person's not for me, and they don't respond. And that's cool, because I want to eliminate the looky-loos, really. So it's all about showing up to serve and thinking about how you can do that without being a sales hole. That's my favorite word.
Sales hole. Nice.
Can I make a quick comment on that, Jennifer?
Yeah.
I use a program called Loomly to do all my sales pitches. So if someone were to message me and say, hey, listen, what is your package? They don't want a phone call or anything. I'll have my PDF on the screen. My face is in the middle, and I walk them through my package. I actually had a client hire me last summer because of the shirt I was wearing.
Nice.
Amazing.
Not even joking, because he was a farmer. I was wearing a plaid shirt. He goes, I like your style. He was a big burly guy with a beard, and he connected to me. He's like, I like this guy. I think he was expecting like a shirt and tie, a Mark Zuckerberg looking dude. And he liked the way I looked. He liked the cut of my jib, sort of thing, and he hired me because of that.
The world we live in has taken value away from who we are as individuals, right? Social media has lost that social aspect. So when you can inject your personality into who you are, how you show up in the world, that will resonate with people. I call it magnetic marketing, because you attract people who align with the things you value, the way you show up, the cut of your jib, your beard, your plaid shirt, whatever it is. They will find something that they like about you because they can see who you are and hear your voice. Catherine, you had a question?
I do. Thank you. When you're looking for groups, and this is an issue I've had every time Ivan says, are you in a group? It goes under my personal name, not my business. So how do I draw those two together without advertising?
I don't use Facebook personally anymore. There's personal posts on there, but for me, it's a business tool. If I didn't need it for my business, I wouldn't be on Facebook. That's my personal stance.
Okay,
so
you can't join groups from the business side.
No, but I treat my personal profile page as a business tool.
Oh,
you can.
I thought you could.
It depends on the group rules. So I'm an administrator on like 3 groups, and only one allows businesses to enter. So if you're allowed to have it, when you go to join the group, it'll ask you, do you want to join as John Dezane or Dezane Social Media? If that doesn't pop up, then it's in the Facebook group's rules.
So, okay, fair enough. I've not come across that. So Jen, and I mean, I don't use my personal for much. I mean, it's, the beautiful sunset or sunrise or, nothing too personal, right? So use it as an extension of my business?
Yeah. you'll see my dog, and I'll share random things that my boyfriend and I do. But for the most part, the content that I share on LinkedIn and Instagram and in Facebook groups also gets shared to my Facebook page. It represents, or like my Jennifer Jane Facebook page, because it's who I am. It's what I do. This is my life. So it shows up there as well, with just a little more sprinkling of personal things. But it's not, you know, people use Facebook pages or their Facebook profile really to like share their dog or their kids or whatever. I don't do that. That's not how I use it. I use it as if it's meant for me to grow my business.
Yeah, and just so that you know, when I post things on This Great City's page, I get an option to share it to groups, right? So it says, would you like to share this on this group and this group and this group? And some of them are groups that I don't even control, but it gives me the option of sharing it on those groups. So so you can definitely do that. But listen, I want to just get to the last point here, and that is about how many of us here have a page on Facebook. I may have a page on Facebook. Okay, a business page. Okay, that's wonderful. Wonderful. That's you know, I want to get everybody here to plop in the chat window the link to your Facebook page, because I'd like for everybody to like the pages, right? So if you can drop your link in there, because I'll tell you, it looks great. When you have a lot of followers, of course, you know, but also it means that when you're posting something, I'm going to get to hear about it because I'm going to be following you, right? So go ahead and drop your Facebook link in there. And if you have not already liked This Great City's Facebook page, please go ahead and do that as well. Okay, so now how many people here have a Facebook page where there's not a lot going on? There's not a lot going on that page. How many?
The last post was July 2021. Oops.
Okay, 2020. Okay, so for those people, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to pick up the phone and call Jonathan. Just call him. Just call him. Jonathan, you're going to be gentle. I'm giving you some non-paying work here.
I think that's great advice. I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay, just call him up and just brainstorm with him. Okay, if you can, right? And just ask him, you know, take a look at the mess I've made. What can I do? And put him on the spot. All right. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Anybody? I'll throw my phone number in the chat too. So if anybody does want to reach out, text, call, we can set up Zoom. I prefer Zooms. And then we can, I'd be happy to help anybody out.
Right. And, you know, and even an eval, right? I mean, if you have stuff that's going on and you think, you know, I'm not getting a lot of engagement, but I'm posting constantly, can you give me a look over? Then just have him take a look at what you're doing and give you some feedback. This is kind of what he does. So, you know, and, you know, I mean, so does Teresa, by the way, but, you know, Teresa's with me. So, but definitely, you know, jump all over Jonathan there because of the fact. All right, so folks, we have a few minutes. Sorry, go ahead, Nathan.
I just have a quick question, and I don't know if this is a Jennifer and Jonathan question or a group question. With Facebook pages, what is the difference between liking and following a page?
That's a good one. Jonathan, go ahead. Go for it.
So when you like a page, you like and follow it. Typically, you have to go and manually unfollow it. So I have some pages that I like and I unfollow because they post 72 times a day, and I don't got time for that. So if you unfollow a page or if you follow a page, it means you're going to see their posts organically. So if you're scrolling through your Facebook page, let's say you like, let's say you follow This Great City, and when Ivan posts, you're going to see it. If you go to your like button, you can hit your unfollow settings. You'll still like the page, but you won't see any posts anymore unless you go to the page and look for it.
So following is the same as liking and following, but liking without following means you're liking it, but you're just not going to see any posts.
Yeah, so it'll still say you like the page, but if you unfollow it, you won't see any of their posts unless it's a paid ad or unless you go and look at their page.
Okay, that was sort of my suspicion. I guess the reason I'm asking is, you know, as I'm going through all these links in the chat of everyone's pages, I'm seeing some of them are asking me to like, some of them are asking me to follow. So is it possible that maybe some of them I've already liked but wasn't following, and it's just Facebook. I'm going back there, and Facebook is now saying, well, you've already liked, so that option's not on the table, but here's the follow option in case you want to see more of so-and-so's posts.
There actually has been instances where people have messaged me and said, hey, listen, people aren't allowed to like my page. No idea why. We report it to Facebook, and usually within a couple of days or a week, Facebook fixes it. But there are instances where, for some reason, people cannot like it. Maybe Jennifer has insight on that, but all I've ever been able to do is report to Facebook, and then Facebook figures it out.
Okay, so I have a follow-up.
Facebook. It's glitchy. Sometimes things just don't work.
So follow up on that. Sorry, I know Ivan's got a couple of things I want to talk about. I'm going to be selfish for 2 more minutes. My Facebook page is managed in conjunction with my firm. So I think there's certain restrictions on there that I can and cannot do. What I used to be able to do when I first started managing my page was I used to be able to invite all of my friends to like it. So send an invitation to say, Nathan has invited Jennifer Jane to like Nathan, best financial advisor ever Jones. I no longer seem to have that option anymore. Wow. The only way I can invite people to like it is if, like, let's say, because I do a lot of cross posting. Like, I'll post one of my business posts onto my personal Facebook, and then I'll get a couple extra likes that way. And then if I get those likes and they're not already on my page or following it or whatever, I can send them an invite from that. In your guys' opinion, is that a Facebook thing, or is that something that is sort of been blocked by my firm? Because nobody's been able to give me a straight answer on this.
Did you create the page?
I created the page, but it's also because of, and again, Mike and Dave know about this because of all the compliance stuff. So there's certain things that we can and cannot post. There are certain things that they will actually proactively monitor. So if I post like if I, for example, I can't openly disclose that Ivan is a client or so-and-so is a client. So if I'm posting pictures of me going out for drinks with a client, I'm saying, hey, had a great time with this client, Ivan, the firm's software is going to immediately tag me and say, yo, you cannot endorse that this person is your client for privacy reasons.
Are you an administrator on your own page, or are you just a moderator?
I believe I'm an administrator because I can make posts and review comments and review likes and all that kind of stuff. So like I said, I created the page on my own through Facebook, but then I had to link it to this software that our firm has to monitor.
Okay, so listen, before we answer that, let me wrap up because we've got 2 minutes left, and then we're going to go straight into the lounge, and then we can go ahead and drill down a little bit on that. But I think I know what's going on.
I'm happy to take this offline too if you guys have other stuff to discuss.
No problem. So thanks everybody for coming today. Jennifer, I really want to thank you for helping me today. I thought it was a really amazing discussion. I really appreciate the fact that that Jonathan's here and everybody I picked on, Dave, everybody. Thank you for responding. I just want to go through the things that are happening again this week. Of course, we have the Barrie virtual networking event that's happening tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock. Don't miss it. The link is on the website. It's an open event, so invite your friends, right? If you've got friends in Barrie or anywhere that would like to participate in that, please send them the link and invite them to come on down. All right. Then of course we have the magic of mindset and momentum tomorrow afternoon at noon, 12:30. 12:30, the secret sauce, and then real estate investing with Yuri Nesbitt 9:30 on Wednesday, and of course Catherine Davies talking about closed circuit cameras, etc. on Thursday for Tech Talk. And folks, next week, I'm telling you, mark this on the calendar, put a big red check mark next to it, which is the on the 5th of April, which is the networking event here in Hamilton. It's gonna be great. Shoeless Joe's. But you have to wear shoes when you go in there. Okay, Joe is shoeless. We gotta wear shoes. All right. So thank you very much, and I will